Shalom and welcome back to another class of weekly Torah Talks, where we share timely Torah messages relevant both to the Beit HaMikdash and to your lives. I'm your host Shlomo, and today we have a great message for you. This week's Torah portion is Parashat HaChodesh, the final Torah portion in the book of Exodus in Sefer Shemot. In addition to the regular weekly Torah reading, this week we will read the final of the so-called Arba Parshiot, that is, 4 Torah portions that relate to the months of Adar and of Nisan. This week's portion is called Parashat HaChodesh, which speaks about the first commandment that the Jewish people are to receive as a nation, the commandment to sanctify the new moon and thus declare that a new month has begun. I want to emphasize, this is the first commandment, the first one that the Jewish people receive. This is a nation that had just escaped Mitzrayim, that had just escaped Egypt. They witnessed 10 plagues. They walked through the Sea of Reeds, walls of water all around them until the walls of water came crashing down onto the Egyptians, destroying their captors that had had them in chains for 210 years. This is a nation that experienced miracle upon miracle upon miracle, and they haven't even yet reached Mount Sinai, Har Sinai. And yet God chooses to give them one first mitzvah before they arrive to Har Sinai. I would have expected a more glamorous mitzvah or something more fundamental to what it means to be a Jew. Perhaps Shabbat, or to keep the dietary laws of kashrus, maybe only to believe in God, monotheism, or to spread Jewish wisdom to the world. And yet God chooses to give us the commandment of Kiddush HaChodesh, sanctifying the new moon. Such an obscure mitzvah, an obscure commandment. Why this? Why is this the first commandment that the Jewish people are to receive? The Sforno, a 15th century Italian commentator, takes note of the words that God chose to employ while dictating this commandment. The Hebrew reads, HaKodesh Hazeh Lachem. This month is for you, meaning it is for you to determine when this month, and subsequently all other months, are to begin and end. But notice the words for you. A more reasonable way to command the Jews to sanctify the new month would be to say precisely that, Tikdeshu es HaChodesh, sanctify the month. Sforno explains that the emphasis of Lachem, for you, stresses that the Jews now hold the keys to their own time and their own destiny. When they were slaves to Egypt, they had no sense of time. Their slave owners determined their schedules, when they would work, what they would work on, when they would eat, and what they would eat. This commandment essentially told the Jews, you are no longer enslaved. You now have the ability to choose when, and by extension what, you wish to do. In other words, this commandment, this mitzvah, was introducing the Jewish people to the concept of choice, to bechira, and its relevance in their relationship with God. As opposed to Egyptian servitude, where their masters simply wanted a task to be fulfilled, God, in a certain sense, can care less as to whether or not a commandment is actually fulfilled. Instead, what God really wants is that we choose to fulfill his tasks, that we choose to enter a relationship with him. Therefore, it is specifically the commandment of sanctifying the moon that is most proper to be the first of all commandments. Because this commandment, this mitzvah, serves to teach us that God's commandments are unlike Egypt's commandments. Egypt commands and demands for the result. God commands for Israel to choose to listen to him. It is only through choice that one can enter a genuine relationship with another. And it is only through choice that Israel can enter a genuine relationship with God. We find this idea of choosing God laced throughout other themes of the month of Nisan. Our sages teach us that the first of Nisan was given 10 crowns, meaning there were 10 new things to occur on the first of Nisan, thus crowning it as unique amongst all months of the year. Some of the 10 things included that the first of Nisan was the first day of communal divine service in the Mishkan, the tabernacle. It was also the first day that a divine fire descended from heaven to consume the offerings that had been upon the Mizbeach, the altar. It was the first day that sanctified offerings were eaten within certain sanctified limits, and it was the first day that God's presence dwelt among the people. These are not random occurrences. They are, in fact, a cause and effect of the Jewish people's choice to serve God. For example, the very first day that the Jews choose to serve God as a community, God reciprocates and helps them serve Him by consuming the offerings with a heavenly fire. Likewise, the first day that the Jews choose to eat sanctified offerings within limited areas, God too limits Himself, so to speak, and allows His presence to dwell among the confines of His people. All this reflects the idea that choice gives way to a relationship. God saw the Jews serving Him, so God reciprocates by revealing Himself to them. One more way that we see this in the month of Nisan is found in Masechet Brachot on page 43b. There, the Talmud, the Gemara, cites Rav Yehuda, who said that one who goes out during Nisan and sees trees that are blossoming recites the following blessing: Blessed are you, Hashem, God, King of the world, who has withheld nothing from His world and has created in it beautiful creatures and trees for human beings to enjoy. A person who recites this blessing expresses that he has chosen to see God in the world. God reciprocates by allowing such a person to enjoy the world that God has created for him. Perhaps the ultimate example of Jewish choice is service in the Holy Temple, which in Hebrew is sometimes called the Beit HaBechira. Literally, this means the choicest of houses, meaning this is like the place to be. This is where everyone wants to go to. However, the Beit HaBechira can also be interpreted as the house of choice. One reason it may be called this is because with the many various services of the temple, the Beit HaMikdash, including all that went into building the beautiful structure, the Beit HaMikdash stood as a place that required all methods of creativity to build it and to serve in it each day. In this way, it was the house of choice, the place where every Jew chose to dedicate their unique talents and abilities to the service of God. Although we do not yet have the house of choice in our days, we can still choose to serve Him with the commandments that are available to us now. Perhaps through these efforts, through our choosing to be in a relationship with God as much as possible, God will reciprocate and allow us to build the Holy Temple and serve Him in the choicest of ways. May it be soon in our days. Shabbat Shalom. Did you enjoy this Torah class? Please leave a like and a meaningful comment below. Your feedback means a lot to us and it inspires us to create more Beit HaMikdash content.